As I are fled the ghoul next door. Hello my Spudguns, and welcome to another episode of Night Blades Reviews. And today I have for you the 2005 made-for-TV Canadian film, Bloodsuckers. So, space is filled with a whole bunch of different breeds of vampires, and there is a small select group of Earthlings who go from planet to planet as vampire hunters, and they basically clean up the mess left behind, which means killing the vampires, destroying any leftovers, and just kind of keeping the planets and the way stations free of fledglings. So we open up and the crew are on a jungle planet dealing with one type of vampires. Now the Earthling group of vampire hunters, they have a human vampire, quote unquote, with them on their mission as part of the crew. She's the tracker. She can tell where there are vampires located and what breed of vampire they are. So she comes in very handy in that regard. And we learn right off the bat that there are bloodsuckers, there are energy suckers, there are vampires who live off of your internal organs only. And then there are the slug-like vampires, which we get introduced to later on in the film, that turn their reanimated host into the typical ghoul. So they're on the crew is on this jungle planet, and they take care of the type of vampire that lives there. And as they get back onto their spaceship, they intercede a SOS from a mining planet. Of course, there's a little bit of infighting over whether or not they should go into this because it could be a trap, or should they wait around for headquarters to give them some a proper assignment as where to go next. And of course, the captain rules, we're going to go and we're going to help them, which ends up being their big mistake, because then the captain gets bit and he gets turned. From here, our youngest crew member suddenly becomes captain. He's suddenly the highest ranking crew. They take the lone survivor to a casino planet, which is almost like a airport. It's like a planet that is strictly an airport. And some of the crew members, they don't agree with the new captain, so they're kind of ready to abandon him, but he outsmarts them and forces them to stay with him for a couple of more missions. We then end up back on the spaceship, but before they can take off and go anywhere, there is an attack on the planet they left, the casino planet, and we find out that this is when we're introduced to the slug vampire that reanimates its host, and our lone survivor is the only kind of connection between each planet, and we find out that she is actually leading a group of human rebels working as double agents with a group of vampires, one of the more vicious types of vampires. And her vampire boss, who is played by the ever so brilliant Michael Ironside, he is trying to get our group of hunters to join his cause and sort of wipe out humanity and start fresh. So one thing leads to another, and big battles occur. Of course, our heroes, because they are the heroes, they win out in the end. What I liked about this was the rules of this film were kind of set out at the beginning. You have your sanguinarian vampires, your Psy-Vamps, and then of course your old-fashioned ghouls. There's a comment about garlic not working, crosses not working, silver works to an extent. We see all the hunters have large silver stakes kind of in these backpack things that they carry around through the whole thing. They seem to affect the vampires, but at the same time, our lead female vampire, who's the human vampire, part of the crew, they don't seem to work on her. She's able to grab them and stake someone with them, and they don't affect her at all. Sunlight doesn't seem to affect them, as the planets themselves are drenched in sun. What I liked about this was there's a metaphor that's not so subtle about activism. There's actually a scene near the end where the human rebels are talking about how we have destroyed our ecosystems. And that's basically what this is all about. It's kind of like, well, how are you going to save this planet or this ecosystem when you're causing this much damage? You say you're here to help, and you're actually doing worse than what was happening before you got here. And this is what the vampires are wanting. They're wanting to get rid of humanity so that the ecosystems can realign themselves and become what they were before humans interfered. I didn't like the fact that the vampires died too easily. The whole film, it's a space story with vampires kind of thrown in. It doesn't seem like that at first, but it is, because 90% of it happens on the spaceship. So it's about the crew and how these crazily different personalities clash together but seem to work. If you think about how Firefly, the crew on that kind of was, it's the same translation, only the common enemy is vampires. I was disappointed though with the vampires. Even though they say that there's like these different styles of vampires, these different breeds of vampires, were never really 100% given any backstory on them. It's just, oh, okay, the vampires found Earthlings, or Earthlings found the vampires, and bad stuff happened. Well, I would have loved to have seen backstories for each brand, each breed of vampire. How did they evolve? Why did they come to Earth? Or why did they attack? I think more could have happened. There was too much emphasis on the relationship between the new captain and the rest of the crew. I don't know if this was originally supposed to be a pilot for a TV show. It almost has that feel to it. I'm Earth Blood. Thanks for watching. Tune in again next time. Tune in often. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. Show me some love. And creeping screams.